Welcome to Introduction on Deadlocks in Operating System. Deadlock problem. Deadlock is a set of blocked processes, each holding a resource and waiting to acquire a resource held by another process. Example: system has two disk drives. P1 and P2 are the two processes, each hold one disk drive and needs another disk drive. This situation leads to an deadlock. Example of deadlock: bridge crossing. Traffic only in one direction. Each section of a bridge can be viewed as a resource. If a deadlock occurs, it can be resolved if one car backs up. Several cars may have to be backed up if a deadlock occurs. Starvation is the problem in deadlock. Starvation is nothing but an indefinite waiting is called as a starvation. System model. Resource type R1, R2, etc. up to Rm. CPU cycles, memory space, I/O devices. These are called as the resources. Each resource type Ri has Wi instances. Each process utilizes a resource in the following order. First, the process has to request for a resource. Then the process can use the resource. Once it's completed its use, then the resource has to be released. Deadlock characterisation. Deadlock can arise if four conditions hold simultaneously. First one is mutual exclusion. Only one process at a time can use a resource. Second one is hold and wait. A process holding at least one resource is waiting to acquire additional resource held by other processes. Third one, no preemption. A resource can be released only voluntarily by the process holding it, after the process has completed its task. Fourth one is circular wait. There exists a set P0, P1 till Pn of waiting processes such that P0 is waiting for a resource that is held by P1. P1 is waiting for a resource that is held by P2 till Pn-1 is waiting for a resource that is held by Pn, and Pn is waiting for a resource that is held by P0. So the process keeps on waiting and it will never gain back the resources. So this is called as circular wait. Resource allocation graph. With the resource allocation graph, we can find out whether the system has a deadlock or not. The resource allocation graph has a set of vertices V and a set of edges E. V is partitioned into two types: P, P1, P2 till Pn, the set consisting of all the processes in the system. R, R1, R2 till Rm, the set consisting of all resource types in the system. The resource allocation graph consists of two edges, namely request edge and assignment edge. Request edge is the directed edge from process to resource, that is from Pi to Rj. and assignment edge is the directed edge from the resource to process, that is RJ to PI. Resource allocation graph consists of the following symbols. A process is denoted by the circle. Resource type with 4 instances is denoted by a square with 4 dots inside it. PI request instance of RJ. PI is holding an instance. So this is an example of resource allocation graph. So if we look into the graph, the process P1, which is requesting for the resource R1, but the resource R1 is assigned to the process P2, and the P2 is waiting for the resource R3, in which the R3 is assigned to the process P3. And also the resource R2, which has the 2 instances, is assigned to the process P1 and P2. The resource R3 can be assigned to the process P2 only when the process P3 completes its work. So this is an example of resource allocation graph with a deadlock. If you look into this, 3 processes, each and every process is requesting for the resource which is held by the other processes. So this will lead to a deadlock, because if a resource allocation graph has a cycle, then that will lead to a deadlock. If you look into this example, there is a graph with a cycle, but this will never lead to a deadlock. The process P1 is requesting for the resource R1. The resource R1 has 2 instances. One instance is assigned to the process P2 and another instance is assigned to the process P3. And the process P3 is requesting for the resource R2, and resource R2 has 2 instances, and one instance is assigned to the process P1 and another instance is assigned to the process P4. First, the process P2 completes its work and it's released the resource R1. Now, the one instance of the resource R1 is available, which can be assigned to the process P1. Now, the process P1 has both the resources, so it can complete its work and release the resource R1 and R2. Now, the resource R2 can be assigned to the process P3 and the process P3 can complete its work. So, this resource allocation graph has a cycle but no deadlock. Basic facts: if graph contains no cycle, then there is no deadlock. If graph contains a cycle, if only one instance per resource type, then deadlock. If several instances per resource type, possibility of deadlock is there.